In a bold maritime gambit, the United States has unfurled its naval prowess in the azure expanse of the Mediterranean, like a strategic thunderclap echoing across the seas. The deployment of this colossal naval force is no mere show of strength. It's a geopolitical symphony, resonating with echoes of ancient rivalries and modern power plays. As the tides of international relations surge and swirl, the Mediterranean becomes the stage for a high-stakes drama, where every naval vessel becomes a pawn in a complex game of global chess. The question lingers in the salty air: what unseen moves are being orchestrated on this maritime battleground? U.S. sends massive naval force to the Mediterranean. The decision to deploy this substantial naval force speaks volumes about the shifting dynamics in global politics, with the Mediterranean becoming the epicenter of strategic interest. The move is not just about projecting military might. It's a carefully calculated maneuver, a symphony of steel and diplomacy, that plays out against the backdrop of complex alliances and historical rivalries. At the heart of this maritime spectacle lies the question: what has prompted the United States to amplify its naval presence in the Mediterranean, and what ripple effects might this unleash across the geopolitical chessboard? First and foremost, the Mediterranean is no stranger to power struggles and historical flashpoints. The cradle of ancient civilizations, this vast sea has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the clash of cultures, and the ebb and flow of influence. Today, it stands as a crossroads where East meets West, and where modern geopolitics intersects with centuries-old tensions. The U.S. decision to send a massive naval force to the Mediterranean is a signal, an unmistakable sign that Washington is keenly aware of the region's strategic importance. The reasons behind this move are multilayered, encompassing economic interests, regional stability, and a keen eye on potential adversaries. One key factor is the intersection of maritime trade routes that pass through the Mediterranean. Control over these crucial arteries is not just a matter of economic dominance, but also a strategic leverage point in global trade dynamics. With the rise of China as an economic powerhouse, the United States is keen to secure its interests and maintain a watchful eye on potential choke points that could be influenced by both friend and foe. Furthermore, the Mediterranean has become a theater for regional power dynamics, with various nations vying for influence and control. The ongoing conflicts in the Middle East, coupled with the resurgence of Russia as a significant player, have transformed the region into a geopolitical chessboard. The U.S. naval deployment is a clear message to both allies and potential adversaries. The United States is committed to maintaining stability in the face of growing regional complexities. The Eastern Mediterranean, in particular, has become a hotspot for energy exploration and resource exploitation. The discovery of vast natural gas reserves has triggered a race for control and economic benefit. The U.S. naval presence serves as a deterrent against any attempts to disrupt the delicate balance of power in the quest for energy resources, underlining a commitment to protecting not just national interests, but also those of its allies. Additionally, the Mediterranean is no stranger to historical tensions between NATO members and Russia. The Black Sea, connected to the Mediterranean through the Bosporus Strait, is a vital maritime passage for Russian naval forces. The U.S. deployment could be seen as a strategic move to counterbalance Russian influence in the region, ensuring that NATO maintains a strong and united front against any potential challenges. The U.S. decision to dispatch a massive naval force to the Mediterranean is a bold and calculated move with far-reaching implications. Beyond the steel and firepower, it is a demonstration of strategic foresight, a commitment to securing economic interests, maintaining regional stability, and navigating the intricate geopolitical waters of this historically significant sea. As the naval spectacle unfolds, the world watches, recognizing that every maneuver on this maritime chessboard carries consequences that extend far beyond the horizon.
The U.S. is at it again. The U.S. Navy has positioned an aircraft carrier that carries a super mysterious and mighty aircraft in the Mediterranean. This move can only be seen as a declaration of something big that the U.S. intends to do in the Middle East. Should the world start preparing their nuclear bunkers and silos? Where has the U.S. deployed this aircraft? And what makes it such a super mysterious and powerful aircraft? Let's dive into Mediterranean airspace and find out. But before we get into this video, just make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel to ensure you get more content like this. Okay, let's go. So what's exactly happened now? Well, to simplify things, one of the world's most powerful navies, the U.S., has deployed its strongest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald Ford, with their strongest and most secretive unmanned vehicle, the X-47B. This move comes during a time when the tensions between the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas and the State of Israel are breaking out in conflicts in my places at the border. If Hamas refuses to cease fire soon, they are going to feel the combined power of the deadly U.S.-Israeli alliance soon. But what makes this aircraft such a terrifying prospect that Hamas should reconsider its position? The X-47 is an unmanned combat aerial vehicle, or UCAV, which was first designed and constructed as a part of the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency's DARPA JUCAS program. The JUCAS program, or Joint Unmanned Combat Air System, was a combined program for both the U.S. Navy and Air Force to obtain combat-capable unmanned fighter drones. The program would be managed under NASA's Dryden Flight Research Center. Under the JUCAS program, two notable drones would be built, Boeing's X-45 and Northrop Grumman's X-47. But what would end up happening is that the JUCAS would get dropped due to the difference in objectives that the U.S. Air Force and U.S. Navy had. The Air Force would pursue a path with the Boeing's X-45, and the Navy would pick up the remnants of the JUCAS program and restructure it into the brand new program called the Unmanned Combat Air System Demonstration Program, or UCAS-D. The Navy would move forward with Northrop Grumman's X-47, which would receive a new variant called the X-47B, made as a tail-less blended wing-body aircraft that was also capable of semi-autonomous operation capabilities and mid-air refueling. The X-47B would first be visualized when the U.S. Navy rewarded $2 million for the concept exploration of a fully unmanned aerial combat and reconnaissance vehicle. The Navy set some performance markers for this concept vehicle, mainly resistance to corrosive saltwater, command and control integration for smooth flight, proper deck handling capabilities for both launch and recovery, and finally seamless handling in an aircraft carrier's high electromagnetic interference environment. With the parameters set and the funding secured, Northrop would provide the first variant of the X-47, called the Pegasus or X-47A, from which the X-47B would develop. The entire project had a backing of $635.8 million, which would grow again to a sizable $813 million towards the end of the program. It would again receive a grant of $63 million for post-demonstration development of the X-47B. The current capabilities of the X-47B are remarkable, with a top speed of 0.9 Mach. It can fly at a high subsonic speed and can deliver an ordnance amount of 4,500 pounds if necessary, although its primary objective is not combat but reconnaissance. The X-47B does have a successor called the X-47C, but it is a UCAV that is still in development and is not cleared for deployment. The X-47B, on the other hand, is highly capable on the field. This high capability was to be seen during its flight tests. Although initially set for 50 test runs, with each test run testing different parameters of the UCAV, it outperformed all set parameters before the full 50 tests could be completed. Out of the 50, only 16 flights were completed before all set targets were achieved in its preliminary testing. Its testing began in February 2011 and would conclude its testing phase in April 2015 by testing its in-flight refueling capabilities. Fun fact, the aerial refueling technology was only added after its test flight phase began and was not part of the original design. But then what about the U.S. carrier this powerful weapon of war is seated on? What are its capabilities? Let's see. The USS Gerald Ford, as of 2024, is still the largest aircraft carrier and warship in the world and the most costliest to date. With a whopping $13 billion spent on the ship, you'll understand soon why this ship is the most dangerous aircraft carrier in the world. The USS Gerald Ford is currently deployed in the Mediterranean and is the lead ship in the series of Gerald R. Ford class carriers, which are aimed to replace the entire Enterprise fleet, which had been in service for an astounding 51 years, till it was decommissioned in 2012 and replaced with the USS Gerald Ford in 2017. This steely giant of war comes equipped with two Bechtel A-1B pressurized water reactor nuclear reactors, which only need to be refueled once in its 50-year commission period, which goes to show how reliable modern nuclear capabilities are. Its massive energy output allows the carrier to move at a top speed of 30 knots, allowing it to cover great distances at a time to assist allies or catch up with enemy warships. Want to know what makes this ship such a terrifying prospect? This ship has even less manpower than what the Enterprise-class ships had. What's so terrifying about that, you ask? Well, it's the fact that the ship makes up for its lack of manpower with AI. With more unmanned systems, greater spaces within the hull can be conserved for larger, better systems and other services that improve the quality of life on board the ship for the few men who are essential to running the carrier. In addition to all these features, it also comes with the latest sensor systems which have consolidated both horizon and volume search into one called the ANSPY 3, which is the latest of sensors to be developed by the US Navy. Although the X-47B possesses a great number of capabilities, the strongest ordnance system is delivered by the F-35C Lightning Joint 2 strike fighter jets, which had a reported development budget of, make sure you don't faint, $400 billion. What makes the Gerald Ford even scarier is the fact that it is already equipped with the technology necessary to host the successors of these fighter jets, the FA-XX fighters. These ships also come equipped with electromagnetic launch systems which only need a third of the runway distance necessary to catapult planes into the air, as compared to its predecessor of steam-based catapult systems. Its strong arresters make sure that the planes that land on the ship are brought to a screeching halt well before they reach the end of the runway. These complex runway systems developed by General Dynamics come up to a whopping $4.6 billion. The entire ship is also interconnected by 11 elevator systems, each costing $180 million, allowing for the quick transport of ordnance and other supplies between levels of the ship for a quick response and seamless operation of the carrier. When these launch, arrestor, and transport systems all work in tandem, it creates a highly efficient war-ready ship, ready to respond to any threats. With this ship carrying one of the most tested and best reconnaissance drones of the era, it will make a formidable opponent to any threat to the State of Israel. The US has sunk a great deal of its yearly budget into its army to be the kid with the biggest stick on the block, and it seems that it's indeed paying off well as seen. Although the USS Gerald Ford has been recalled back home, its very presence in the Mediterranean Sea has made Hamas rethink their every move. Which is your favorite feature of the X-47B and USS Gerald Ford? Let us know in the comment section down below.